Hello, I'm Esther Githui-Ewart. It's Friday, October 1st. This is Africa 54.
Ethiopia expels 7 United Nations officials after accusing them of meddling. The World Health Organization is praised for its response to an independent probe investigating sexual abuse and exploitation in Congo. And in our entertainment segment, new sounds from world music star Lokua Kanza.
The United Nations on Friday is expressing great displeasure over Ethiopia's announcement on Thursday that it is expelling 7 senior UN officials from the East African nation, accusing them of interfering in the country's internal affairs. Thursday's expulsion announcement came just 2 days after a senior UN official said hundreds of thousands of people in the northern Tigray region were likely experiencing famine. Among the 7 being expelled are the head of the UN Children's Fund and the chief of the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. UN spokesperson Stephanie Tremblay told the press that UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is extremely dismayed at the expulsions by Ethiopia.
I will start with a statement by the Secretary General on Ethiopia. I was shocked by the information that the government of Ethiopia has declared 7 UN officials, including senior UN humanitarian officials, as persona non grata. All UN humanitarian operations are guided by the core principles of humanity, impartiality, neutrality, and independence. In Ethiopia, the UN is delivering life-saving aid, including food, medicine, water, and sanitation supplies to people in desperate need. I have full confidence in the UN staff who are in Ethiopia doing this work. The UN is committed to helping Ethiopian people who rely on humanitarian assistance. We are now engaging with the government of Ethiopia in the expectation that the concerned UN staff will be allowed to continue their important work.
Jens Like, a spokesman for the UN Office for Humanitarian Affairs, expressed bewilderment over Ethiopia's announcement and says the humanitarian work in the country must go on.
We're also shocked by this announcement, and we also, of course, expect that decision to be changed or be reviewed or modified in some way. It is critically important that the humanitarian operation continues, and it does. We have a very high number of people in very urgent need in Tigray. In fact, 5.2 million people up there are in urgent need of assistance.
Like also added that their work is critical and that they have not been told to stop, at least not yet.
The issue is not that we've been asked to stop operations. Until now, there's no indication that it stops the operation. Of course, when senior leaders are being asked to leave in this abrupt way, it may have repercussions.
Robert Colville, spokesman for the UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, says this is a grave and deplorable step by Ethiopia and that it's an unacceptable situation that has turned the United Nations.
It could have been to one or other agencies, but I'm not aware of any. Basically, this was a bombshell that dropped suddenly yesterday afternoon. And I think we were all caught completely by surprise. Also by the scale of it. 7 staff across 3 agencies is extremely rare, if not unprecedented.
UN Chief Antonio Guterres says the world body is delivering life-saving aid in Ethiopia, including food, medicine, water, and sanitation supplies to people who are in desperate need. He also says that he has full confidence in the UN team in Ethiopia. Meanwhile, White House spokesperson Jen Psaki says the U.S. government, quote, condemns in the strongest possible terms the government of Ethiopia's unprecedented action to expel the leadership of all of the United Nations organizations involved in ongoing humanitarian operations. Elsewhere in East Africa, Somalia's first public oxygen plant has launched in a country where the life-saving medical gas has been largely unavailable during the coronavirus pandemic. Soraya Ali has more.
Somalia's first public oxygen plant opened on Thursday, a sigh of relief for a country where life-saving oxygen has been largely unavailable. The plant, installed in the Banadir Maternity and Children's Hospital in Mogadishu, was bought from Turkey for more than $240,000 by the Hormuz Salam Foundation, established by the country's largest telecoms company, Hormuz. Hormuz Foundation CEO Abdullahi Nur Osman said there were already a number of private plants selling oxygen in Mogadishu.
They were selling a normal price, $50 US, but in sometimes the price goes up and reaches 400 and above.
He said oxygen from the new plant would be distributed among public hospitals in the capital free of charge. Hormuz has also paid to repair the COVID wing where the oxygen plant is located, which was partially destroyed during an attack by al-Shabaab militants in July. The global health crisis has underlined the desperate shortages of oxygen in many countries. In May, a study published by medical journal The Lancet said that Africans seriously ill from COVID-19 are more likely to die than patients elsewhere because of a lack of oxygen and other equipment. Project engineer Onur Ozkan said another plant is on Somalia's horizon.
The government of the Somali Minister of Health already bought another system, a second system, and that system will be ready end of October or the first week of November.
As of Wednesday, Somalia had reported nearly 20,000 COVID-19 cases and more than 1,000 deaths, according to the WHO. Figures could be higher due to inadequate testing and unreported deaths.
That was Soraya Ali of Reuters reporting. In West Africa, as the coronavirus spreads in Nigeria, so have myths about the virus, especially among children. A Nigerian author has written a children's book to help them understand the pandemic and ways to avoid being infected. Timothy Obiezu reports from Abuja.
A team of educators arrives at a government school in Abuja. The team is led by Raquel Kashim Daniel, a Nigerian author and founder of the non-profit Beyond the Classroom Foundation. They are here to educate school children about the coronavirus pandemic and personal hygiene. They're equipped with books, face masks, and sanitizers. Daniel says the initiative started last year when COVID-19 hit Nigeria.
But because COVID was evolving, I knew that I wouldn't have one edition of the book. So we've had different editions of the book. I had to update it from time to time. The support that we have received has mostly come from social media and from funders who have seen our work.
The COVID-19 children's book is titled "There's a New Virus in Town." It has colorful images along with text to help children understand the deadly virus better. The book also contains a quiz at the end where children can guess the next character or topic. 12-year-old Jamila Abdul was one of the readers.
I wash my hands regularly, wear my face mask, keep your compound clean.
9-year-old Prekulia Oyewole says he'll keep safe to keep his friends safe.
I was angry because the coronavirus killed so many people. So I wanted it to not kill my friends.
Despite Nigeria recording more than 200,000 cases of the coronavirus, authorities say myths and misinformation about the pandemic continue to spread, and children are among the most susceptible. Daniel's program, which has reached some 14,000 children so far, is helping to bridge the education gap, not only in schools, but also among vulnerable groups like these children in a village near Abuja.
Some will say only older people are dying because God wants to save the children, and so God is cleaning the earth. We heard all sorts of things. So what we do with our volunteers, because we have to train our volunteers before they go on the field, is to teach them and arm them with information about these myths and say to them, when you get on the field, this has to debunk it.
Nigerian authorities have been organizing mass sensitization programs to educate the public and try to overcome misinformation they blame for a slow vaccine uptake. But while that happens, Raquel Kasham Daniel will be having an impact on kids. Timothy Obiezu for VOA News, Abuja, Nigeria.
The World Health Organization's response to an independent probe which found that some of its staff were among 83 aid workers involved in sexual abuse and exploitation in Congo has been praised. Emma McCarthy has the details.
Esperance Kazi works for women's rights in the Congolese city Beni, and she says she's grateful to the World Health Organization for its response after a damning report found some of its staff were involved in sexual abuse and exploitation during the country's Ebola crisis.
We very much thank the WHO, who got involved so that the perpetrators were punished. That will discourage others, particularly men who have bad intentions towards women.
Thousands died in Congo's 2018 to 2020 epidemic, but an independent commission accused some of those meant to be providing help of carrying out abuse. The probe said 83 aid workers were involved, 21 employed by the WHO. The allegations, including 9 of rape, were reported to have been carried out by national and international staff. The Commission said some were coerced into sex by the promise of a job. Women already employed told the review team they were forced into sex to keep their jobs, get paid, or get a better paid position. Some said they were dismissed for refusing sex or did not get the promised jobs after consenting. The report found 29 became pregnant and some were forced to abort by their abusers.
I'm sorry.
On Tuesday, WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said the known perpetrators have been banned from future WHO employment and that the contracts of 4 people employed by the body have been terminated. Rape allegations would be referred to Congo and the countries of the suspected perpetrators, he said.
We encourage the WHO to continue what it has shown the community. That really it's people who have abused women and girls in our community that have to be severely punished for what they have committed. Abuse and sexual exploitation.
The probe was prompted by a Thomson Reuters Foundation and the new humanitarian investigation last year. Co-chair of the Independent Commission, Aishatu Mindaudu, said there was no overlap between the victims in the media reports and those it interviewed. She acknowledged this could point to a larger problem. Mindaudu added that some at higher levels in the WHO, quote, were aware of what was going on and did not act. Congo and other aid agencies have also pledged investigations into the sex abuse.
Emma McCarthy of Reuters filed that report. 18 months into the COVID-19 pandemic, and experts say the oil and gas industry, which has been hard hit, faces a slow recovery. Despite the pandemic worsening effect on lower oil prices, the African Development Bank, in its African Economic Outlook 2021, says Angola's oil-driven economy is expected to expand in 2021 with a GDP projected growth of 3.1%. The nation's economy has been in recession since 2016, but it has introduced major reforms since 2019 aimed at boosting the economy. Africa 54 correspondent Lino Mudu spoke with Antonio Enrique da Silva, chairman of the board of directors of the Special Economic Zone of Luanda-Bengo and president of APEX, the agency for the promotion of investments and exports of Angola, about the country's situation.
just like all other countries, we've been facing the same challenges. And since Angola, even before the pandemic, was undergoing very structural reforms, political reforms, economical reforms, we were entitled to be able not only to keep going those reforms, but also to tackle the negative impact of the pandemic. Nevertheless, we also thought that we as a country, since the start of President João Lourenço's new government, we thought that it was important to strengthen the role of institutions and also the improvement of market conditions. And that for the Angolan government established pillars of good governance, focusing itself on anti-corruption and economic diversification. That's on one hand. On the other hand, we passed a new investment law, 1018, which sets out competitive conditions for private investors to come into Angola. That same private investment law was based in establishing three investment regimes, the possibility of negotiation of incentives. There is no minimum required of amount of funds for an investor, and also for foreign investors are not obliged to have a local partner.
What about when it comes to diversification, given that it's really an oil-driven economy?
The new government has established a set of priorities besides tackling corruption, besides getting things ready for a restart of Angola. It is important to deliver in such a manner that these measures are reflected positively in people's lives. And therefore, we managed to set up a concrete plan, which we call PRODESI, is a program of the government of import substitutions and to promote exports. It's set up in the sectors like the agriculture, manufacturing, mining, fisheries, ICT, health sector, infrastructure. So a variety of sectors that which we believe because of their relationship and the impact that they can have on people's lives, that they should be the ones to be promoted.
Some investors, many investors, look to countries that are politically stable before they come in. You talked about one of the pillars being good governance. There have been a lot going on the political front. We're not going to get into politics, but what do you tell investors to reassure them that there is a political stability and they can come in?
We invite them to come and to be able to see it by themselves, how these changes are effective and what the government is pursuing to pass to the general public a strong message of those changes. And as a fact, if you are following as a journalist, you have noticed that Moody has upgraded Angola's rating to B3, which is very positive. That means that the consistency of the reforms, the ones that are more related to the financial sector and the performance of government institutions, and therefore performance in terms of governance, has improved a lot.
Now, Angola signed the Continental Free Trade Agreement, I believe, in 2018, and it's an Africa-wide free trade agreement to boost intra-African trade, among other things. What outcome and opportunities emerged from the move?
It is very strategic for us to be part of the African Continental Free Trade area. By signing it, we believe that we are able to participate due to the strategic location of the country, due to the investment that has been done in infrastructure, both ports, roads, and railways, because we have a corridor that is called the Lobito Corridor that connects Angola to neighboring Zambia and DRC. And it will enable us to have, let's say, a two-way movement. So on one side, we will have the natural resources coming from those countries, the minerals coming and being exported through the Lobito Corridor. On the way back, we are able to send over goods that are produced either in Angola or imported from Angola through this corridor back to those two countries. So that will increase the trade between inter-regional trade.
Mr. Antonio Henriques da Silva, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Angola is set to hold general elections in 2022. The country has a population of around 32 million, with more than 50% under 25 years, according to World Bank data. Burkina Faso's 6-year conflict with terrorist groups linked to Islamic State and Al-Qaeda is spreading to the country's southern region, according to analysts. Henry Wilkins went on a patrol with a group of vigilantes as they prepare to defend against the Islamist militants near the southern town of Bobo Dioulasso. And here is his report.
Just outside Burkina Faso's second largest city, hunters known as dozos kill animals for food and provide basic security. Now they are preparing for a new threat, terrorists linked to Islamic State and Al-Qaeda.
The majority of our guns are shotguns. How can we shoot someone at 300 meters? You see, it's difficult. We not only need military training, but also we need weapons to be able to defend.
Analysts say it is likely the dozos will play a military role in the southwest too, although similar groups have been criticised for acting as vigilantes and carrying out extrajudicial killings. Just 7 miles away from where these dozos patrol, members of the group clashed with unknown gunmen earlier this year. There have been at least 30 security incidents, including kidnappings and violence against security services in the last year in the southwest.
Today, we realize that it's no longer a religious problem, but people who are looking for something, that is, money to satisfy their needs. But in this case, they can't get it because they have to kill people. Their domain is usually drugs, and where there is gold and silver, they are there. And now often, they even take animals to eat or sell them for money.
Terrorist groups in Burkina Faso are known to draw funding from illegal gold mining, smuggling, cigarettes, drugs and fuel. A Burkinabe analyst says an estimated 15% of terrorists are in fact religious fanatics. Terrorist expert Jacob Urede Batiola, meanwhile, says alarm bells are ringing beyond Burkina Faso.
I think we have to place the movements in the west of Burkina Faso in context. There have also been incursions of terrorist attacks in Ivory Coast and Grand Bassam. Because of these incursions, it now seems possible terrorism could spread beyond the Sahel to the Atlantic coast, where they can carry out attacks from. In my opinion, to slow down the descent of the West into terrorism, we need the intelligence service and special forces units.
One of the dozos says he feels compelled to defend the community no matter what.
Almost every child among us is born a dozo because our parents were hunters. It's a bit like a heritage, so the dozo brotherhood is adhered to. People think it's new, whereas even before our grandparents were hunters, before the name dozo came into being.
But with little military training and inferior equipment, it is unclear what kind of a defence the dozos will be able to mount. Henry Wilkins for VOA News, Bobo Dioulasso, Burkina Faso.
In our entertainment report, after an 11-year hiatus, world music star Lokua Kanza has released a new album and is taking on a new role for the Democratic Republic of Congo. VOA Music Time in Africa host Heather Maxwell spoke to him to find out more.
Hello, everybody. Joining me now is Lokua Kanza from Paris, France. Hi, Lokua. How are you?
I'm fine. You?
Je me sens bien aujourd'hui.
Eh oui, il y a des jours comme ça.
So I just heard that you were awarded UNICEF Ambassador for the Democratic Republic of Congo. Is that true?
That's true, yes, for Ambassador for Kids and Education.
I want to start out by just discussing your latest music video and song, Tout va bien. Tout va bien, for those who don't speak French, means all is well. But what is your message in this song?
The message in this song is talking about hope. In this time in our life, it's a little bit strange with the pandemic, with the sickness, not only in the body, also in our minds. Human beings, sometimes we feel great, we feel good. It's a song for giving hope to people, because beside of the problems we have, but we have also the good side of life.
There are two kids in this video that come in the beginning and then re-emerge in the middle. Are they representing you when you were a child, or what?
They represent human beings. You know, it's the image of the who we are. But really believe strongly that those kind of image that can move and change life, because that's the way we need our life to be together, to be united. Like that's why my album is named Moko. That means Moko like the beginning, Moko like unity.
Talk a little bit more about your album. It's your 7th.
Yeah. This album was like a kid's dreams. You know, when I was young, the things was touching me a lot. It was when I sit down and listen to those big brothers playing music, I was feeling like I'm flying. I was sitting, but my mind, my spirit was flying away. What I tried to do with this album, it took me like 8 years to build the album, to create the album and everything. And I would like the people who want to listen to this album to just feel like me when I was young. And also the combination of many things, the rhythm, the harmony, the melody from India, percussion from Brazil, the orchestra, Philharmonic from Hungary, you know, many things like that in the album. So it's like a tribute to human beings. It's a love album. And like I was saying, in this album, I have 100 musicians playing inside, live. And that also 100 musicians, yeah, in this album. It's a crazy album.
So you play guitar. Are you learning, or do you play other instruments as well?
I play a little bit piano, I play kalimba, I play flute, I play percussions, I play bass.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your music video with us.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you, Heather. And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, have a great weekend.